Welcome to Endeavour's GK Capsule for the month of July 2020. The month was dominated by the news about the new education policy, the first Rafale aircrafts arriving in India, and the continued scare of coronavirus pandemic. Let's look at these and other highlights of the month. The first category is awards and recognitions. Swedish teen climate activist Greta Thunberg was selected for the inaugural Gulbenkian Prize for Humanity. She was chosen for the way she has been able to mobilize younger generations for the cause of climate change. Thunberg responded by saying that she'll donate $114,000 to the environmental organization SOS Amazonia to address the coronavirus pandemic in indigenous territories of the Amazon, and another $114,000 to the Stop Ecocide Foundation, which works to make ecocide or environmental destruction. The rest of the prize money will go towards helping people affected by the climate crisis and ecological crisis, especially in the developing countries. The 17-year-old Thunberg has also been named the Time magazine's 2019 Person of the Year, won Amnesty International's Top Human Rights Prize, and used money from the 2019 Right Livelihood Award to open the Greta Thunberg Foundation to promote ecological and social sustainability. The next category belongs to persons in news. Election Commissioner Ashok Lavasa has been appointed as the Vice President at the Asian Development Bank. He succeeds Diwakar Gupta, whose term ends on 31st August. Ashok is a retired IAS officer. He was appointed as the Election Commissioner in January 2018 and was next in line to become the Chief Election Commissioner in 2021. Now, with him joining ADB, his colleague Sushil Chandra will become the Chief Election Commissioner. This is only the second time that a premature exit happened from the Election Commission of India. In 1973, Chief Election Commissioner Nagendra Singh had resigned before completing his term at the Election Commission to become a judge at the International Court of Justice. Ashok Lavasa will assume office at ADB in September. He will have a 3-year term as Vice President at ADB. Union Home Minister Amit Shah tested positive for coronavirus. He is undergoing treatment in Gurugram's Medanta Hospital. As total coronavirus case count in India has crossed 18 lakh mark, there are many famous names from Bollywood to politics that have contracted coronavirus infection. These include Chief Ministers Shivraj Singh Chauhan, B.S. Yediyurappa, former Chief Minister Siddharamaiah, Amitabh Bachchan, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, etc. The United Nations has designated Mufti Noor Wali Mahsood as a global terrorist for planning and financing terrorist activities on behalf of Al-Qaeda. Noor Wali Mahsood is the leader of terrorist group Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or TTP. TTP is responsible for many deadly terrorist attacks in Pakistan, including the attack on Pakistani security forces in North Waziristan and KPK in 2019. Noor Wali Mahsood is already designated as a terrorist domestically by the United States. Now, with the United Nations Security Council also designating him as a terrorist, all countries are required to freeze his bank accounts and other financial assets. The countries are also required to prevent his movement through their territories. The third unit of Kakrapar Atomic Power Plant in Gujarat has successfully achieved criticality on 22nd July. This means that the 700 megawatt power plant is now ready to generate electricity. The Kakrapar power station is situated on the banks of river Tapti and is roughly 80 kilometers from Surat. It is India's 23rd nuclear power reactor. At present, India has an installed capacity of 6,780 megawatts of nuclear power. India's ambitious plans include constructing a dozen new nuclear power reactors totaling 9,000 megawatts. While 9 reactors are under construction, the centre has also given in-principle approval to set up nuclear power plants at Jaitapur in Maharashtra, Kuwada in Andhra Pradesh, Meethi Virdi in Gujarat, Haripur in West Bengal, and Bhimpur in Madhya Pradesh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicated Asia's largest solar power project to the nation on 10th July. The 750 megawatt solar power plant has been set up at Rewa in the state of Madhya Pradesh. The Rewa Solar Power Project consists of 3 solar power generating units, each having a capacity of 250 megawatt, situated inside a 500-hectare solar park. The project is a step towards achieving 100 gigawatt of solar power generation capacity by 2022. Assam is devastated by massive floods, with 30 out of the total 33 districts severely affected due to floods caused by heavy rains. Over 70 lakh people are affected, with more than 120 deaths reported since May. More than 2.6 lakh hectares of crop area is submerged. The rapidly rising water level has also affected Kaziranga National Park. More than 100 animals, including 9 rhinos, have been reported dead so far. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Mauritius counterpart Pravind Jagannath jointly inaugurated the new building of Mauritius Supreme Court in the capital, Port Louis. The building is first India-assisted infrastructure project in Port Louis. The Supreme Court building is one of the 5 projects implemented under a special economic package extended by India in 2016. In October last year, Prime Minister Modi inaugurated the first phase of the Metro Rail project and a new 100-bed ENT hospital in Mauritius, also built under the special economic package. The economic package reflects India's enhanced focus on its neighborhood-first policy. A controversy has erupted in Pakistan over the construction of a Hindu temple in the capital city of Islamabad. Government of Pakistan gave a plot of land to Islamabad Hindu Panchayat in 2018 for the construction of a temple of Lord Krishna. Some religious parties and groups objected to this and challenged the decision in court, stating that the construction of a temple with taxpayers' money in an Islamic state was against the practice of Islam. Last month, the Islamabad High Court rejected 3 such petitions filed against the construction of the temple. However, the temple construction is still halted due to huge protests by extremist groups. The matter has now been referred to the Council of Islamic Ideology to seek its opinion on the matter. Let us now look at major highlights from the national and international news. Union Cabinet has recently approved the new National Education Policy 2020 with an aim to introduce several changes in the Indian education system from school to college level. The new education policy cleared by the Cabinet is the 3rd major revamp of the framework of education in India since independence, after the 2 earlier education policies in 1968 and 1986. Here are some major key points of the new education policy. Universalization of education from preschool to secondary level with 100% gross enrollment ratio in school education by 2030. Bringing 2 crore out-of-school children back into the mainstream through an open schooling system. The current 10+2 system to be replaced by a new 5+3+3+4 curricular structure corresponding to ages 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14 and 14 to 18 years respectively. This change will bring the uncovered age group of 3 to 6 years under school curriculum. It will also have 12 years of schooling with 3 years of Anganwadi or preschooling. Class 10th and 12th board examinations to be made easier to test core competencies rather than memorized facts, with all students allowed to take the exam twice. Teaching up to at least 5th grade to be in mother tongue or regional language. Vocational education to start from class 6th with internships. The key reforms proposed in higher education sector are: holistic undergraduate education with a flexible curriculum can be of 3 or 4 years with multiple exit options and appropriate certification within this period. MPhil courses will be discontinued and all the courses at undergraduate, postgraduate and PhD level will now be interdisciplinary. Multidisciplinary education and research universities or MERUs to be set up, on par with IITs and IIMs, as models of best multidisciplinary education of global standards in the country. Higher Education Commission of India to be set up as a single umbrella regulatory body for the entire higher education sector, excluding medical and legal education. Public and private higher education institutions will be governed by the same set of norms for regulation, accreditation, and academic standards. The first 5 Rafale combat aircraft arrived in India on 29th July. The aircrafts were received at Ambala Air Base by the Indian Air Force Chief, Air Chief Marshal RKS Bhadauria. The aircrafts were flown from France to India in 2 stages. They made a first stopover at a French base in UAE on their way to India. The 5 Rafale aircrafts include 3 single-seater and 2 twin-seater jets. These 5 are a part of the deal signed by India with France in 2016 for the purchase of 36 Rafale fighter jets for 7.6 billion euros. The first 5 aircrafts will have the RB series tail numbers to honor Air Force Chief RKS Bhadauria. US President Donald Trump has repealed his controversial directive to deport international students who decide to take online classes amid coronavirus pandemic. The Trump administration had told foreign students that they would not be allowed to stay in the United States unless they switched to a course with in-person tuition. The rule received criticism from many states and educational institutions who called it a way to pressurize colleges and universities to reopen their campuses with in-person classes during the pandemic. Many universities, including Harvard University and MIT, sued the government over its policy. A new trade agreement, or NAFTA 2.0, between the United States, Mexico, and Canada came into effect from 1st July. The new deal is an updated version of nearly 25-year-old North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA. The new renegotiated agreement was promised by Donald Trump during his 2016 presidential campaign. The new agreement includes major charges on cars and new policies on labor and environmental standards and intellectual property rights. Let us look at some news from the field of business and economy. Reliance Industries Limited conducted its 43rd annual general meeting on 15th July. The meeting was conducted in a virtual format. Reliance chairman Mukesh Ambani introduced all the entities that recently invested in Jio platform, including Google as the new strategic partner. Google will be investing Rs 33,737 crores in Reliance Jio platform for a 7.7% stake. Reliance Jio, in partnership with Google, will develop an Android-based smartphone operating system to increase access to smartphones. The main objective is to accelerate India's digital economy. RIL also unveiled the indigenously developed Jio 5G. Jio TV Plus and Jio Glass were also unveiled during the AGM. The Jio TV Plus will be a content aggregator that will curate OTT platforms such as Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Hotstar into one app. Jio Glass is a mixed reality headset which will enable holographic video calling. It will bring teachers and students together in virtual 3D classrooms and conduct holographic classes through the Jio Mixed Reality Cloud in real time. Let us now look at news from the field of science and technology. The human trials of India's indigenous COVID-19 vaccine named Covaxin has begun. Covaxin is a vaccine developed by National Institute of Virology and Bharat Biotech for the treatment of the novel coronavirus. The Novaxin has received the Drugs Controller General of India's approval to undergo the phase 1 and 2 of clinical trials that will be conducted on humans. The trials had started at 12 locations in India, including AIIMS Delhi and AIIMS Patna. The Indian Council of Medical Research has set up an ambitious target of releasing the vaccine by 15th August. The USA, China, and United Arab Emirates launched their Mars missions in this month. The missions are named Perseverance, Tianwen-1, and Hope, respectively. All the 3 missions are expected to reach Mars by February-March 2021. So far, only India, USA, USSR, and European Space Agency have been successful in sending missions to Mars. In the category of sports, due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, various sporting associations have decided to postpone sports tournaments and award ceremonies. The International Cricket Association, ICC, has decided to postpone T20 World Cup 2020 and ODI World Cup 2023 both. In a similar move, France Football Association has also announced that no Ballon d'Or award will be presented in 2020 due to lack of sufficient fair conditions amid COVID-19 pandemic. Set up in 1956, Ballon d'Or is considered the most prestigious football award in the world. This is for the first time in the history of the award that it will not be presented. With this, we have come to the end of this video. We hope you like the coverage of topics in our monthly GK capsules. Do also watch our other videos. Happy learning. Thank you.